Hey everyone, Steve here. Welcome to our postmortem for Kaiju Watch. This was built in 1 month for the Indie Clinic Collab Jam, bit of a mouthful. The theme was you are not the main character, and the premise was to find a team. So I teamed up with Zerdy, who absolutely crushed it, setting up the gameplay ability system GAS in C++, amongst a bunch of other things, and Gambit Games, who imported and set up Epic's Paragon characters with their motion matching animations, which look really cool. We wanted to lean into the theme whilst also building skills that we'll use for future projects, namely gas and combat systems. So we dropped the player in as an expendable foot soldier, capturing objectives to pump up your real main characters, which are the giant mech and colossal kaiju battling in the center of the map. For as you capture objectives, your champion will unleash its ultimate ability, which is the missile barrage and the energy beams that you saw in the intro. If you want to jump in and try this yourself, the itch.io link is in the description below. Otherwise, let's dive in. What went well? What really clicked was how quickly Zerdy and I found our rhythm by communicating daily on Discord, splitting up tasks, using our Trello Kanban board to know who's doing what and when, working in clear Git branches. We avoided any friction or duplicate work. The whole process felt very smooth. Also, working across time zones was actually super fun. Getting to log on each morning and check out new features is really nice. I admit I was kind of skeptical initially that we would hit our scope, mainly due to my own inexperience. I wasn't sure if it was too ambitious. But we managed to ship all of our core tasks and delivered a fully polished game loop, menus, sound effects, VFX, game map, AI, combat, win-lose states. Yeah, it felt really good to ship a full release, even if it was basic in many ways. What didn't go so well? We nailed the core, but we didn't leave much runway or balancing or extra combat moves that could have kicked up the fun. Right now, the skill expression is mostly just in good positioning. There's not much room for outplay potential or a higher skill ceiling. We also ran into some communication hiccups on the art side. Our animator was working in a separate project for most of the jam, so we weren't sure if we were going to receive those animations or not. But in the end we got the animations, which was a huge help. It definitely would have looked pretty sad without them. Everything was just sliding around. But the sporadic updates kind of squeezed our schedule a bit. In hindsight, I think we could have scoped a little tighter, as things like movement mechanics, a leap slam for the kaiju to close the distance, and a dash for the mech to dodge attacks or those leap slams could have added a lot more depth. I also rushed the AI. Enemies snap turn instantly on you, making flanking essentially punishing instead of rewarding, as when you sneak up on a mech and slap them from behind, they instantly turn 180 and shoot a rocket at you with perfect aim. So a simple lerp rotation and some inaccuracy would have made the combat feel a lot more tactical, and it would have been nice if you were rewarded for flanking rather than punished. That said, our aim from day one was less about making the perfect game jam game and more about mastering gas and prototyping a combat loop with AI. So I think now, with that foundation in place, in future projects we should be able to devote more attention to focusing on deeper skill expression features where things will actually start to get more fun from a player perspective. Would I do another game jam? Yes, but with a shorter deadline. A 1 month game jam in theory is supposed to be more relaxing given the extra time, but in practice it turns out to be pretty much a month-long sprint instead of the more usual game jam duration of a weekend or 1 week sprint. So next time I'd pick a weekend or a 1 week event instead. However, it was extremely valuable in terms of skill acquisition, pushing me out of my comfort zone, and definitely teaching me more than I would have if I was working solo. From a collaboration standpoint, it was also invaluable, as Serdi and I are planning to do some future releases together now. The future of Kaiju Watch. As fun as the prototype is, we don't plan to continue this exact build at least. We've proven the core loop and learned what we wanted about gas and AI from this project, which was the primary goal, as well as finding people to collaborate with. So in that sense, the project has kind of met the goals that we set out with at the start. So now we're going to move on and focus on creating some commercial projects together and see how we can apply the lessons we've learned from this game jam. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching the Postmortem. And if you haven't already, you can try Kaiju Watch on itch.io, the link is in the description below. And let us know in the comments what you would add or improve. How could we have made the game more fun? Alright, cheers all, see you next time.